we are basically spending 100 grand more on maintenance for... What is that, like... 70% more speed? Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on Transport Fever 2 in the free mode with me, Spacefish, and welcome back to our beautiful little countryside out here in the middle of nowhere, where we have in the last episode concluded our effort thus far on modernizing our fleet, as there's been a ton of new cool vehicles coming out, and well, we are set to continue on that one today, because we only got to F in the last episode, and there is a whole lot more lines to go where we do need to make the decision to modernize specifically the train lines, because that is where we do have all the new technology coming in. But also in the last episode there was even a new set of airplanes that actually came to the market, so there is even more potential for improvements now, and we are definitely going to make sure to check that bit out today as well. Before we get going though, if you're new around here and if you do happen to enjoy this episode, please make sure to go ahead and smash that subscribe button right down below. That would really absolutely mean the world to me. We're still quite the small channel out here and trying to reach 1,000 subscribers at the moment, so every single person truly does help out a ton with that. With that out of the way though, let's go ahead and just get going back on our modernization drive. Hopefully, you know, getting some cool new vehicles coming in. I would like that quite a lot. So, starting out then with food to Blackburn, which is this little line right here. It's been quite a while since we've set that up, and from what I can see, Blackburn has actually grown quite a bit. So, first things first, we'll need to make sure that we still be able to match demands in Blackburn, but secondly, we may also need to adjust our delivery area potentially. We need to see. So, looking at Blackburn, we do have 64 of the rate of demand, which is still admittedly not that high. But definitely is going to be higher than the last time around. If we do look here then, food, Blackburn, 135. Okay, I would say that that train is still very much sufficient. My question though being, why do we not cover everything? Maybe it's just the output right here. It's probably already at its limits. It is not, in fact. So, is it maybe that the delivery area is not covered? Well, the delivery points are not covered. We do have this one right here. Well, that does seem to be quite nicely covering things. So I guess we've just not made the necessary deliveries, or that would actually be also a different point if we go to food. What do we call this? It's apparently not food delivery, Blackburn. Blackburn food to 66 of a rate. Technically matching what we need. I'm not sure, maybe we already did adjust that in the last episode. So we'll leave it at that for the time being, alright? Moving on, food to the Aquarium. I mean, that's a very new route. I think we don't have to revisit that currently. We'll just leave that where it is. Food Colburn is all the way out here, and that's probably something where you would be able to deliver more. We've got 119 here. The current rate is actually 134. So that's technically still sufficient. My question being, how old is that train? Normal. No, mediocre. I think we can leave it running for a while longer. I mean, sure, we can make some optimizations there, make the carts a little bigger, and, you know, but honestly, I mean, it's not going to give us much, so we're going to leave it where it is. Food, Darlydale. That should be quite an easy one. I mean, we do know that those rates are way over the top of what Darlydale needs, because it's so close to where we make the food. So we're going to leave it where it is as well. And then we've got all the trucks. So for the trucks, I mean, oh, that's actually, well, that's still fine. Food delivery Darlydale. Food delivery Evesham. No. What? Yes. Food delivery Evesham. We may as well double check these real quick while we're at it. Still over what we need. For food delivery, the Aquarium, I mean, it's also super fresh. So that is actually not fine. Why have I ever set it up that way? We do have more demand there than what we were covering, so we definitely need another one right there. Glad we looked. Kind of a bit confused about that. Apparently we also chose one of these red ones, which I don't quite understand. But we're going to go and assign another one, making sure that that is all working fine. So, that is going to cover that. Moving back to where we were at. Oh no, that was the right screen. We were at food delivery, the Aquarium. So then we've got delivery truck Colburn. Wait, no. Here. This is where we were at. God, so many menus. Food delivery truck Colburn, a rate of 149. Totally fine. Then we do have a food Leighton to Evesham. I think that's something... Yeah, that's something we newly set up. We're not going to check on that one. Fuel to Basingstoke. Now, these train cards are very small. So, I do definitely estimate that we can go ahead and make some improvements right there. Let's go and locate that one. Where is... Oh, fuel. Right, so from all the way up here to all the way down there, I guess. Now, on Basingstoke, we currently have a demand of 185. Oh, we're not even close to covering. Which I guess may be due to the amount of stuff that we're making up here. I feel like this fuel factory is not really quite able to keep up with the demands that we have. I mean, if we think about it, right, this thing is going to Basingstoke, Bedale, Darley-Dale. Darley-Dale's pulling 153 alone. Bedale's at 109, so we've got 250. Now we've got Basingstoke, 185, so we're already over the 400 max that the fuel factory can take. Which is worrying, which is quite worrying indeed. I mean, that we can definitely make some improvements here, and we're going to. But I'm thinking we probably want to somehow integrate another fuel factory into the network here to take some load off of that one. The thing is, I don't think there's many actually on the map. We do have quite a lot of demand for fuel. We do have this one right here, fuel refinery. If we think about it, we've got a ride, we've got Sitmouth, we've got... Nothing else? I mean, this fuel factory, fuel refinery can already take care of that. Okay. Okay. So maybe the plan has to be that this fuel refinery is going to have a little sideline over to Basingstoke in the future as well to make sure to get more fuel delivered that way, basically. So we've got to keep that in mind. That may be another good... business line for the future, and then we'll just kind of deliver from 2 fuel factories. Maybe eventually totally cutting off the former, because I mean those cities here are going to grow further, definitely. I mean, oh, we've got Colburn as well. Oh my god, that is not even close. Okay, yeah, we will definitely have to cut this one off eventually, because this is not going to be even close to able to manage 4 different cities. Even 3 is going to get hard at some point, I can imagine. But okay, for the time being, I think we can do a little bit of modernization right here. I mean, the train line's also getting us some good profits, so we are going to go and make some adjustments, and that one's already in mediocre condition anyways. So we're at 207 of the capacity. The thing is, we already know that we can't fill the 207, so I think we're going to make it like 180 maybe. Maybe even like 170, because what we can do... is that we also make it a faster train at the same time now with a new train carts, and thus, you know, with the rate adjustments due to the speed, we can save on a lot of the maintenance cost for all the train carts, I would hope. So we currently have the Crocodile right here, which, well, in terms of power, this thing doesn't have much more than the Crocodile, but we don't need much more. In fact, I mean, we're even shortening the train, so we're not concerned about power. But the extra speed would really help out a lot, and on top of that, the maintenance price difference is absolutely marginal. I am loving that. We're definitely doing this. So, this little train, I think it's the first time that we have it on something, isn't it? That's going on there. We're going to go and remove all of these, and we're going to get the train capacity to about like 180-ish. Maybe even 170-ish, just to see. That's too much. 165? We're going to have to double check this. Let me see. We are currently at a rate of 192. Okay, I would say our target rate should be like 170, 180. Right? That's somewhat what we want. So we're going to modify it like that. We're going to have to let time run for a second to see how fast this train is now going to be. But here is our new, fancy, beautiful locomotive, which is definitely something that we've not had before. And now, before we can actually hop into the camera view, we're going to go and get the time playing real quick here. Let's have a look at this beautiful new train with a little bit of lag and an autosave. What timing right there. But I do have to say, I am really, really happy with this new locomotive. I mean, thinking about it, right, if you see this one properly, we are basically spending 100 grand more on maintenance for... What is that, like... 70% more speed? 70-80% more speed, basically. I mean, sure, we're not getting much of any additional power, but, you know, otherwise, this thing is working beautifully. I would like to turn the camera. Apparently we can't without... No, that's how I turn the camera. But yes, I mean, that's glorious. I absolutely have to say I like that. I think this new train is going to add a lot of efficiency to our grid in the end, because look at this. I mean, you are basically going straight to the 125 kilometers an hour. I think it may be 120. I'm not sure whether train carts here are limited. Yeah, it's 120, but still, I mean, that's so much faster than the 75 the old one was able to go. That is a real good improvement. And, I mean, we can literally just save ourselves train carts based on that. Now, if we look at that, after letting the time run for a little bit, we're at fuel basing stoke, rate of 153. Is that the actual rate with the speed that it has? Or does it have to deliver first before we find out what it is? Let's go and let the train drive till the end, see if there is going to be any changes to this rate here. Or if that's already the final one. 175, there we go. So, absolutely beautifully spot on, and we're saving so much in terms of maintenance cost right there. I mean, we just... saved ourselves like 20-30%? No, like I think we saved like about 20-ish% on the capacity, right? So I mean, it's a good few hundred grand in terms of maintenance. Quite happy with that. Moving on though, moving on, we've got a lot of things to modernize. We've got fuel badal. Let's go and pause the time before we absolutely just get filthy rich, because, I mean, we kind of already are filthy rich. 170 million, Jesus Christ. That is despite just continuously spending money on new toys. We've got Fuel Badal right here, and Fuel Badal is, this one right here. I mean, my issue with this one is that it's honestly kind of a bit, messed up at this point, right? It's really not looking good anymore, that train. Now, technically it's totally fine, but it is going to go and limit the growth of Badal, just the amount of emissions that this train is going to chuck out. So, I mean, in terms of the amount, you can see that it's far from full. In terms of the train, you know, I'm not too happy with it. The question is, how much do we have here in terms of maintenance costs? 617k a year. I'm unsure. I mean, technically, we could probably even downgrade it to this thing and not really worry about it, because, you know, we can't even fill the frequency that it currently has. I would really like to have something electric going in front of it, just, you know, to alleviate all those extra emissions that this thing is going to have. Do you see what are its current emission stats? It's not that one, it's this one. I don't think so. 74. What are the base ones? 77? I'm so confused. Shouldn't the emissions be going up? Oh, maybe it's just the average of like the tank car and that thing. I'm a bit confused about that, not gonna lie. I mean, would this have less? How many emissions does our new train thingy here have now? Is it that? It is. 68, okay, so it is still going down. I was a little concerned about that there for a second. Where was our train at now? Here. No, there, as before. So, let's go ahead and manage... No, that is not it. That is it. Let's go ahead. Oh, in fact, this entire train line's not electric. I mean, the upgrade costs are really outweighing the benefits at this point. I would love to do that, but honestly, it doesn't make any sense. So we're maybe just going to wait for, like, some diesel locomotive in that sense, alright? We're going to drag that one out a little bit. So, moving on from that, we've got fuel delivery lines a little bit, so we're going to double check those, even though we're mainly really looking for the trains, but, you know, we're already shifting through it. Basingstoke, we've got a rate of 177. Basingstoke needs 188, but we can't fill that anyway, so totally fine. Dydale, 158. I am sure that we want more than that. We don't, actually, so that is nice. And then we have fuel line Colburn, 100. Where we need 112, so that one we may want to increase a little bit just to make sure that we have that covered. So we're going to go and add one more to the set, because when we do cut off eventually Basingstoke from the grid and get it attached to something else, we do probably want to make sure that there's enough stuff actually rolling into there. Moving on from that, we have had all of these. Then we have the fuel line to Dunleydale. Well, we currently have a rate of 164, which is totally fine, and in fact the locomotive is also rather modern, so I'm really not too concerned with it. Sure, bit of optimization potential, but for the money we'd have to spend, Goods Pedal. Where's Goods Pedal? Oh, it's the one going from all the way out here to all the way out there, yeah? So on this one, I am thinking probably not. I mean, that's also quite new, to be honest. Quite a new train line. We're not even going to be filling the rate now, to my knowledge. We don't. No, we don't need that. We're fine. Goods to Broadstairs. Where is that happening? Oh, that's this one right here. So for Broadstairs, we need 98 units. We're able to move 121. Totally fine. Grain, Blackburn, Darleydale. Oh, that may be an interesting one, to be honest. Grain. And this little old train is able to fill our needs? Apparently. Grain, Blackburn, Darleydale. I mean, it's got 21 cars for that short distance. I'm not really sure that's worth it. That said, I mean, that locomotive is super low in terms of maintenance costs. What does one of these carts cost us in maintenance here? 62k. So, I mean, I'm quite sure we would probably be able to get rid of half the carts in terms of capacity if we would... Well, no, actually, in fact, I mean, if you think about it, we would get up to like 125 max. So we have got, I don't know how many carts these are. We've got 21. I would say we could maybe go down to like 14 in terms of the same capacity. So that's like 7 cars, which is honestly not even going to cover. No, we're going to leave the train. Train's nice and cheap. It's fine. It's beautiful. It's all good. Moving on from that. I mean, this is only... No, this is actually something I'm worried about. Because there is next to no grain going through this train, I feel. Oh, no, that's Space City. That's just recently set up. That's why that's that low. Well, we're not going to worry about that. That's fine. So then we have these. Now, these trains... I mean, in terms of rate, they're all fine. I mean, I don't think that we can really push these that much more. I mean, these very long trains, I'm kind of considering a little bit. Where are these at? Because, well, I mean, you can see just how long these are. If we can even just... But I don't know. I mean... We would have 50% of an increase in speed, right? So, get rid of a good third of the carts, which would be like 10 in terms of comparative. What we also need to always think about, right? How do these maintenance costs compare? These are actually more expensive for the capacity that they offer, right? If you see that right here. That said, of course, they do offer also more top speed, so it does, in some sense, balance itself out, but we've got to think about that, right? So if you could get rid of like 10 cars, that would be like 600 grand in maintenance saved. Then you have to calculate, though, that this thing costs 600k, and then this thing here costs like 1.1 million, which already equates it pretty much, and then, you know, the little bit of extra maintenance cost for the car. So that's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it, and if it isn't worth it for the longest trains, it's not going to be worth it for the slightly shorter trains either. So we can ignore all of those. Okay, this right here we're going to optimize. So this thing has 78 gondolas. Like, this cannot be... Well, in fact, is this a crocodile or is this something... This is a BRE 94. And that is due to all the tractive effort we need. I don't think we can optimize that because this thing's just too weak in terms of power. It's something we definitely want to kind of optimize to the future due to the insane amount of cards. But you know, I mean, these aren't really saving you any wage as far as I remember. I mean, they're saving you a bit. They're weighing 50% more and they've got like, what, 60% more capacity? So, I mean, it is... Well, it's in fact 75%, but... Is it? No, what? What am I saying? It's 62.5%. Yes. So, you know, it's a little bit better, but still, I mean, we do need a better train to go along with it. It's definitely something we do need to optimize in the future, but currently, I mean, the trains are just not good enough for that yet. We need stronger trains to make sure this doesn't stay at 78. But then moving on from that one, we've got one here with 28. Oops. Which, I mean, that one may be worth doing, to be honest. Because this is not a BRE. This one is a crocodile, I think. You double check that hypothesis. It is a crocodile indeed. So this one we can definitely optimize because, I mean, it's going to be an insane speed boost we get from that change. And it doesn't even cost much of anything more in maintenance compared to the crocodile. So we're definitely going to do that. And then while we're at it, well, we do need to find out. Iron Broadstairs, 466 of a rate. We're even a little bit over the rate there, to be honest. But we're definitely going to change out the carts. I think we're going to try like 200 of a capacity for the time being. We'll see how that plays out and if we can lower it even further. But this one definitely makes sense to change, I would say. Maybe we try 182, in fact. Just to see how that one works out for us, alright? Let's go and get that playing, and then when that train reaches the station, I think the game should be recalculating the rates for us. Currently, it's saying 379, which is honestly making me feel that we may still have too many gondolas on that one. But let's see what it does when it reaches the station, and then we can go from there. Slurp. And it goes to 406. Well, that's pretty much a spot-on landing, so that's perfect. I love it. In fact, though, this one right here has got a way too high rate, to be honest. Iron Basingstoke Steel Mills at a rate of 555. We only need 405, so we can, in fact, optimize away a little bit out of this by just removing a few train carts at the end. Just going to remove 8 of those. I think that should be totally fine. Gets us to 498. We can actually... Why do I have so many train carts on there in the first place? That's too much. Feels like it should be more like that. Yeah, look at that. 427. That makes more sense. I mean, still a ton. We still have, like... Is that 60 up to date? Yeah, so we've got 60 train carts still, but it's better than 78 any day of the week, isn't it? So... Glad to be keeping that, and now you can see there's a little less of an overhead there too, in terms of how much cargo we've already chucked into there. We do need to stop fast forwarding. We're at 200 million now. Jesus flipping Christ, we're making so much money. I'm making it sound like it's a problem, but you know. Holy moly, absolutely insane. So moving on from that, we're gonna machine delivery Crawley. We can go check that out real quick. Should be totally fine, to be honest. In fact, it is not. We need 71 machines. Wow. Okay, we're going to go and add another one of these tarpaulin trucks to that machine delivery line. And then we do have Machines Blackburn, which has got a rate... That was the wrong button to click. Machines Blackburn, which has got a rate of 94. And out here, we're at 71 in terms of the supply and demand. So it's totally fine still for the time being. It's a nice and cheap train. We're going to leave that way. We've got Machines in Stapleford, which is here. 74. 64. Oh, wow. It's a nice bit of a growth, isn't it? So we're going to go adjust that. Apparently we chose that one. I don't know why, because I thought this one was worse than the Opals. Or I don't know. Anyways, we've already chosen it. I'm not changing it all over now. It was very marginal as far as I remember. So, there goes machines to Stablefort. Holy moly. There's still so much left, isn't there? We've got all the oil, all the passenger lines, all the wood, and then we're pretty much done. And then we do have all the planes still. So the list is still quite long. But with that said, we're already out of time for today's episode. So, rejoice. There's another episode of new toys coming. But lots and lots of new toys for today already, I would argue. I hope you all very much enjoyed it. If you did, of course, as usual, please make sure to go ahead and smash that like button right down below for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing right down below, as well as hitting that bell icon in order to stay up to date on all those future upcoming episodes. With all those things out of the way though, as usual everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next episode very, very soon. Ciao.